everyone, my name is Kirsty the Worsty and welcome to my channel. So for my first ever booktube video, I decided I was going to do the 25 bookish facts about me. The first couple of facts I decided I was going to do just about me in general so we could get to know each other a little bit, you know? Get to know each other, get a little chummy. So my first fact is that I live in Maine with my fiance and my cat Guppy. Here he is. I was an English major in college. I love musicals. Especially I love The Phantom of the Opera. I mean, I really love The Phantom of the Opera. But over here, you're gonna enjoy the sound, the music of the night. My fifth fact is that I started a booktube channel so I could talk to other bookish people and chat about bookish things. Now onto the bookish facts. My Hogwarts house is Slytherin. My Divergent faction is Amity. Peace and love, y'all. I listen to audiobooks as much as I breathe. Pretty much 75% of all the books I read are audiobooks. I listen to and from work. I listen when I get home from work. I listen when I'm brushing the teeth. I listen when I'm brushing my teeth. My mom also used to read to me a lot and all the different character voices, so maybe that's why I have such a connection to audiobooks. The book that got me into reading was The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I read this my junior year of high school. It really turned everything I thought about reading on its head because, you know, when you're in school you read so many of these required books. I read, you know, Beowulf and Shakespeare and all of them felt a little stiff to me, but then when I read this I was like, wait, you can write like that? You can have a voice that sounds like Holden's voice? It really was a game changer for me, and I know this is a very polarizing book. Not everybody loves this book. I stand by this book, and I still love this book. My least favorite book I ever read in school was Lord of the Flies. I couldn't get into it. I hated it. I hated all the characters. If I had to pick a modern book that I didn't like so much, maybe my least favorite, I would have to say To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. Unfortunately, a lot of people really love Jenny Han. I can't seem to get into her. That was my least favorite book by her. I just felt the character was very whiny and it was very... If I had to pick my least favorite book of all time, it would be On Walden Pond by Henry David Thoreau. I had to read it for a class, and it was like, the whole class was like about this book, so you needed to read the book, right? But I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was awful. I attempt NaNoWriMo every year. I was a creative writing and a journalism major. I actually won my my senior writing award in school, so I was really excited about that. For Christmas a couple years ago, my fiance got me a really cute present. It's a pen, and the pen says sweetheart on it, which is really nice. But the bookish fact is that it has a quote from Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. It has my favorite quote on it, which is, "And the rest is rust and stardust." Awesome, amazing book. Lolita is my favorite book of all time, and this is another very polarizing book. A lot of people don't like Lolita at all. The plot for a lot of people is just too much. Basically, it's about this man named Humbert who falls in love with a 12-year-old girl, and it's basically just about his exploits going across country with her and how their relationship develops, and it is disgusting and grotesque in a lot of ways, but the writing is so lyrical and haunting and beautiful that I will recommend this book to anybody and everybody. It's my favorite thing I've ever read. I always write in books I own because I love to go back and reread my notes if I ever reread things, or I don't reread books a lot of times, but what I will do is if I'm thinking about a book a lot or I'm like, oh, that book was so good, I'll go through it again and read some of my comments on it, and it's almost like you get to read it again, but you don't actually have to put forward all of that effort. My next fact is that I have a really hard time finishing series and trilogies and duologies, anything that's not a standalone, because I love standalones. I love going into a book with a clean slate. Also, am a huge fan of Daniel Handler, not just the Lemony Snicket series, but also Why We Broke Up, and I've read a bunch of his stuff, and I think he keeps that really endearing wit that he has in Lemony Snicket for his adult book. Rainbow Rowell is my favorite female writer. I've read everything by her. Eleanor and Park is my favorite. my only problem is she just doesn't write enough books. Like, there's some writers who are like popping out like 2 books a year, and it's like, Rainbow, hey, where's my Eleanor and Park sequel? Where's anything else? Because I literally will read anything that you write. The book that I've gone back to and read the most is The Austere Academy, which is, you know, by Lemony Snicket, by Daniel Handler. That's my favorite book in the Lemony Snicket series. How old was I when I read those? I think I was maybe 12 or 13 when I read that series, and The Austere Academy was my favorite, and it's a very short book, and I remember being on vacation with my family, and I remember I was like rereading and rereading. Of course, I've already binge watched the Netflix series. It stopped right at the beginning of The Austere Academy, and you could see Vice Principal Nero with his violin behind the door, and I was like, ah! The book that I have read the quickest was Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I took this originally out from my library, and we got like three weeks or something to read it, and I read it in a day, and it's like almost 700 pages. The worst habit I have when reading is I often read ahead. Sometimes I get like distracted by what I'm reading, and I'll just start like flipping pages. My last bookish fact is that I am obsessed with dialogue. I think it's my favorite part of books. For me, is always the dialogue, because I love to hear how characters interact with each other. I feel like there's a lot of very subtle details about their personalities that come through when they're speaking. There's been a lot of books where I feel like if the dialogue is really stiff, or I just don't feel like people would talk like that, I won't finish it, because dialogue is just too important to me. Too important. So that's it, guys. Those are 25 bookish facts about me. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about me, and I am so excited to be here and start making videos for you. In the meantime, I'm on all the social media, so if you can't get enough of me, you can follow me on, I have Twitter, I have Instagram, I have Goodreads, and I have Tumblr. I think that's it, guys. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe. I'm gonna make new videos every Monday, so stay tuned. Bye, guys.